Hello internet, and today we're going to do a top 5 Wednesday, a video I haven't done in a really long time. But this week's topic was books that you disliked but loved to discuss, and you guys know how much I love discussing things that I don't like. So let's get through the 5 top things that I like to discuss that I don't really like in general. Like, I don't like the thing, but I like to discuss the thing and talk about why I don't like it. It's very funny. The first one on this list is Cassandra Clare. I can't say a particular Cassandra Clare book. All of them. Just all of them. I don't like anything that she does. And that's pretty harsh, and I understand that. There's just so many reasons why I could list, which is one of the reasons why I like talking about why I don't like it. But I have read the Mortal Instruments, except like the finale books. And I have read the Clockwork series except for the finale book, and I didn't even bother with the Lady Midnight series, but I just don't like any of her books. They slowly devolve into something that's just filled with angst and miscommunication, and I just can't stand any of the characters, and the characters that I do like are background characters, and the characters I don't like are the ones that I have to stick around with all the time, and it's just really tiring for me, and I don't like anything that she does. And I feel like if I stuck through most of the Mortal Instruments, then tried Clockwork series, and none of it could do anything for me, then she's just an author that I don't like at all. And it's gotten to the point where I won't try her again. Like, she is somebody I will swear off forever. And the more that I hear about her from different people, both from people who like her and from people who don't, it just doesn't sound like something that I ever want to invest my time in once again. And I guess the reason why I like talking about her books so much, even though I dislike them, is because I'm still slightly angry that I wasted so much time reading so many of her books when I didn't like them, but was determined to read them because so many other people around me were reading them. So I was like, well, I guess I have to read them as well, until I was like, no, stop suffering, just put that thing down. Number 2 goes to Vast in the Night by Sarah Porter. I did a whole video on why I think this book failed at being what it was supposed to be. This is a retelling of a Russian folk tale, and it was poorly done. It's super confusing. Vasa is a super irritating character. Just so many things could have gone better for this story to make it a better developed story, to make it a more enjoyable story. And I think that's why I dislike this book so much, is because it was such a disappointment for me. For a person who really likes fairy tale retellings and grim fairy tales, just having one that I wasn't familiar with in the first place, and then having it retold in a way that I was just like, what's even the original story here? And what's going on? None of this is making sense. It was just overall super disappointing, so that's why I don't like it, but I love to discuss it because I like talking about all the reasons it did badly in my opinion, and then all the ways it could have done better. Number 3, The Hunger Games by Susan Collin. Now, I can't make a full opinion on this franchise as a book series because I only read and completed the first book, and I couldn't even get through the second book because I was so infuriated with it. I didn't like Catching Fire. Like, I got halfway through the book and there was still no games. It was just Katniss complaining about which boy she had to choose. I wanted like more PTSD. I wanted like more politics, more something. But I was tired of listening to her going on, oh Gale, oh Peeta, oh Gale, oh Peeta, which one should I choose? And I was like, girl, you need to live by yourself for a little while. You just went through this traumatic experience, and I'm pretty sure you don't love either boy. Like, romantically, I don't see you in a stable situation where you could love either boy. Because one was a kid that you grew up with, and if you loved him in the first place in a romantic style, we would have known about it before you went into the games. Like, you're not interested in that kid. We know it. And for Peeta, your romantic relationship was something that you put on for the sake of surviving in the games, and you guys have a dependence on each other because you just went through a horrific event in which you had to rely on each other to survive. So I'm not quite sure that the feelings there are really love, more like that is someone that you have to depend on to survive. So you probably shouldn't try to enter in a relationship with a person that you just like fought off beast with and that you were going to die for the sake of your both surviving. Because I don't think like there was love involved there. There was just like really entrenched survival instinct. So I like talking about the Hunger Games and just how much I didn't like the second book, and I actually take it as like a little badge of honor. I know it sounds really disturbing, but a little badge of honor that I never finished the second book, and I like to complain about why. However, the Hunger Games, the second movie, I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I just like talking about how I didn't finish the Hunger Games, and it's something that I'm actually proud that I didn't finish, which I know is going to disappoint a lot of you because I know a lot of you love the Hunger Games, but like I'm not gonna go back and reread it or finish it or touch it again. I'm done with it. If I want to experience the Hunger Games, I'll go watch the movies because there's 4 of them and they're slightly more entertaining to me. Number 4, Beautiful Creatures, and this is by 2 authors, but picture, I can't remember their names. And this, for me, was just, I like talking about how much I don't like this because it was super disappointing. Like the first book, I read it and I loved it. I loved the concept. I like this concept of witches and that they go through witch puberty and they either have to turn evil or turn good, and it depends on the eye color, and something weird's going on with this whole town surrounding these witches and all of their magic and how powerful they are, and just like this whole history and this system. And I was really invested, right? But the second book came along and I was like, no, this main character is whiny and we're not learning anything. It wasn't like I wanted to learn about the history, about this world, why they had to go through witch puberty, why they didn't get a choice whether or not they were good or evil, or what was the choice, or how did this happen, because it didn't seem like some of them, it was like, you're evil. Like, you turned 18, witch puberty, you're now evil, and now everything they do with magic has to be menacing. But why? And I wanted to learn more about that, and there was like a secret underground information and all of that sort of stuff, but I never got that. Instead, it was told by the main character, who wasn't even the witch. He was the boyfriend of the girl who was going through witch puberty, and all she did was whine and complain like, oh, I'm gonna go evil, but I don't want to, but my eyes are both colors of both the good guys and the bad guys, and I don't know what to do. And all she did was mope around, and this kid's like, maybe we can try to figure out the history as to why you guys have to go through this, what's happening here. And she's like, no, and I was like, no. So I like talking about just how disappointing that book was, and I still don't know the history. Like, all I cared about in that book was the history of the witches, and I still don't know what it's about, because after that second book, I decided that I couldn't stand that girl. I couldn't stand her. She was a whiner, and no. And number 5, Marked by PC Cass. Does anyone else remember this series? Like, this was a series that was popular when I was in middle school, and my friend had all of them, and like I didn't have a lot of books at the time because I was relying on my parents to buy me books, and my mom would only buy me books on like certain occasions, so I usually was borrowing from my friends or from the library. So this book is about vampires and like the school that vampires go to, and this girl transitions into a vampire, and then turns out like she has super vampire powers. Like, she has the best vampire abilities out there, and she can control all the elements and stuff like that. And I have read a decent amount of these books. Like, as a kid, I was just so obsessed. I was like, oh, I'm gonna read these. And then slowly as we got deeper into the books, I was like, this girl is a horrible human being, and all her friends are horrible people, and what is wrong with these kids? And I think I got like pretty decently in. There's several of these books. I think I got at least to like number 8. And just some of the decisions that this girl would make pertaining to her harem of men that she had. I was just like, why would you add that guy to your harem? Because he's a jerk. And like, clearly that person is using you. Or why do you have anything to say to your friend and their life decisions over there when yours are pretty terrible? Or just like how awful her friends were to her and all the horrible things that they said about her. And it's like, I guess I liked the book because I liked having a female with like a male harem because I'm that person. But just a lot of the guys that she would pick, I would be like, why are you picking this dude? And then just some of the plot lines and stuff like that, it was just a weird junk of a mess. So I really want to find more people who have read really far into this series so that I can ask them, what the hell was this girl thinking for most of these books? Because I don't know. It just got progressively worse and worse in the decision-making category for most of these characters, where it just really confused me when I read them. So those are all the books that I don't like. Not in the least bit, either because they disappointed me, or they just spiraled downhill, or because I just have built up such a strong resentment towards. But I love discussing with people to try to figure out what the hell was going on and how could it have been better. So if you like what you're seeing here and you want to continue seeing more, click all those buttons down below, and goodbye, internet.